Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we are looking at the 1969 release by World Distributors from their Land of the Giants series of annuals. And this particular one is the 1970 annual, which was released in late 1969 for the upcoming 1970 year. Now, the annual was 95 pages, and it included comic strip stories, information, features, and games and articles, all based on the television series Land of the Giants and the characters from the Spindrift spacecraft. Okay, so this is the front of the annual. And you can see at the front, you've got Land of the Giants, and you can see you've got the image of the Spindrift flying behind the giant cat, or I think that's a tiger, wherever it is, and you've got the characters running along on the bottom of the annual. Okay, and it says authorised edition based on the popular television series. Okay, so that's the front of the annual. Let's just flip it over, and what have we got on the back? Well, again, you can see the Spindrift crew running away from a giant. All you can see is their legs, and look at the size difference. And in the bottom corner, it's got the SBN number, which is 7235-0071-1. Okay, so that's the front and back of the annual. Let's just have a look at the spline. And again, on the spine, it says Land of the Giants Annual, World Distributors, and you can see the spline's in excellent condition. So as is this whole particular annual, come to that. So we'll get more into the quality of it in a little while. Okay, that's the front and back covers. Let's open it up and have a look on the inside. Okay, so I've opened the annual, and this is the first page on the inside, and you can see again it's artwork images, and you've got three of the characters running away from a giant, and the Spindrift ship, which is spinning round past the giant, and there's giant cars and so on, and I think that's supposed to be Barry, it's supposed to be Mark, and it's supposed to be Valerie. Now, there was a name wrote on the top corner of this particular book, which has been crossed out. And you note in the bottom corner, it's still got the price from new, which was 62.5 new pence, or 12 and 6 in the old money. Okay, let's turn over. And now we've got the contents page. And again, it says stories, Two in a Trap, Pygmies at Play, Midget Safari, Escape to the Deeps, Raid for Survival, In a Nutshell, The Big Risk, Griffey Must Die, and the strip stories are Operation Mini Surgeon Part 1 and Operation Mini Surgeon Part 2. Features and games include HIFGTL 037 or Flight 703, for your information. Monsters of the Deep, Fabulous Facts, Space Facts, The Large and the Small, Journey to Safety, which is a game, Magnificent Status, Old and New, Giants of Ancient Egypt, Nature Own Giants, Giants of Their Kind, Into Space, and finally The Whispering Giants. And it says Land of the Giants Annual on the right hand side, and you've got the characters, artwork images of all the characters. So you've got Captain Steve Burton, you've got Mark Wilson. Where's Stefan? Stefan's there somewhere. Can't see him. Yeah, there he is. There's Stefan. Sorry, not Stefan. Barry. It was Stefan Angrim that played him. Barry Lockwood. We've got Dan Erickson. And we've got Valerie here. And Heather there. And of course, we've got Fitzhugh, the thief that stole $1 million. Okay, so that's the index page, and so we're on to the first story, which is Two in a Trap, which is a full story with colour artwork images. And then we're on to this HIFGTL 037 or Flight 703. As each of the groups of letters below, when rearranged, will form the name to one of the members of Flight 703. Can you find them all? So it's quite straightforward. That is actually, it's all the characters from the TV show I just mentioned at the beginning of the game of the book annual. Pygmies at Play, which is the second full story. Again, it's a full story with artwork images. On to the next page, we've got full year information, which is all information from history. And again, the next full story is called The Midget Safari, which is a full story with monocolour images. And there's a big image of the Spindrift in orange and white. Monsters of the Deep, which is all about underwater, and the space stations or underwater stations that were built. And another full story, which is Escape to the... I can't even understand what that says. Escape to the... Oh, Escape to the Deep. Okay, so again, it's a full story with monocolour images again. And fabulous facts, which are true facts. And then we come on to the first of the comic strips, which is Operation Mini Surgeon Part 1. And it is a full colour comic strip story, which features all your characters from the Spindrift, plus the usual. I think the detective is in this from the TV series. So yeah, and off they go, trying to capture the little people. Space facts, the large and the small, which is all based on the sizes of prehistoric animals and current animals. And then we've got the game, which is Journey to Safety. So all you need for this is a dice and some buttons, and you just follow the game around just like a normal Snakes and Ladders game. And you just do what the... if you land on these squares, you do what they say. Quite a simple game, but they were simple games in these books. Magnificent Status, Old and New, which are all the giant statues. And then we got the second part of the comic strip story, Operation Mini Surgeon Part 2, A Life in Their Hands. And it's, again, the little people are captured and they are trying to escape. And there's a giant who picks up the Spindrift. And I think the giant is actually helping them. I haven't read the story, so I don't know for sure, but there we go. That brings us to the end of the story. And then we got Giants of Ancient Egypt, which is all about the sphinxes and the pyramids from long time ago. And then we're on to another... Oops, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. I knocked over my board, so I'll straighten it back up now. Another full story, again, which is a full story with monocolour artwork images. And then we've got Nature's Own Giants, and another story which is In a Nutshell, again, which is a full story with artwork images. And then we get on to Giants of Their Kind, which is all about insects and snakes and things that are big in their specific species, I should say. And then we've got The Big Risk, which I think is a final story, which is a full story with colour images or pictures. Oh no, it's not the last one. The next one's the last one. Then we've got Into Space and Griffle Must Die, which is the final story with colour artwork images. And then the very last pages is The Whispering Giants, which is all based on the Zeppelins and the air balloons from World War II. And that brings us to the end of the annual. There we are. So, terrific annual. I love Land of the Giants as a kid. I thought it was one of the greatest programs on television, but I was very small when it was on. But it was one of my favourite programs of the time. Sadly, it only ran for a couple of seasons. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons that it ran for before it was axed. Apparently due to drop in ratings and due to the costs involved to make the serial. But there we go. That was a shame, really. One of Irwin Allen's terrific TV shows. He's done quite a lot, really, including Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and The Time Tunnel, to name just but a few. Okay, how well did these annuals do? Well, of course, back in the 1960s, as you're well aware, there was no such thing as videos, DVDs, live streaming. So if you didn't see your favourite television show when it was broadcast, well, you missed it. And if you missed it, then the only way you was going to see it was by waiting for a rerun to come. And that didn't always happen. Quite often they didn't come, or they didn't come back on for years and years and years. So if you missed it, you missed it. Not a lot you could do about it. But in order to keep you enthusiastic about a television show, there was merchandise that was produced. So for Land of the Giants, there was quite a lot of annuals produced over the period. There was also some activity books produced. Now, I don't recall much else being released from Land of the Giants. There really wasn't much merchandise produced. I don't know about in the US, but certainly in the UK, there was practically no merchandise other than the annuals and the activity books. That was pretty much all that was produced, which was a shame, really. And even up to this date, there's never been a great deal of merchandise produced for Land of the Giants, but which is, like I say, there was no figures or anything like that produced. Literally, I'm pretty certain the only thing was the annuals and the activity books. I can't recall anything else. And recently, there has been model kits produced of the Spindrift, but I say that's probably about it, really. There really isn't much around at all. So the annuals was a very big thing. A very big thing during the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. Massive thing. Pretty much every kid had annuals in their Christmas stockings on Christmas morning, and all based on whatever their favourite television programs was. And obviously Land of the Giants was no different. As I say, it was one of my favourite shows as a kid. So it does have a special place for me, these particular annuals. Now, obviously, what we're talking from 1968, I think, yeah, 1960, was it 68 or 69? So it was released in 1969 for the coming 1970 year. So we're talking 54 years old now, 55 years old. Now, trying to find these annuals at all is now becoming quite difficult. They do occasionally pop up from time to time on the platforms, but not very often now as compared to they used to. But then 54 years on, well, what do you expect? The program's been off air since 1970. Yeah, 1970, I think the last season aired. So it's been off air for 54 years. So, yeah, I mean, so these, obviously, television programs, unless you're of that age, you probably wouldn't know about them, or unless you've seen it on some of the old satellite channels that are rerunning them. But otherwise, you wouldn't know about this. So finding these annuals these days is quite difficult, especially in this condition, which is fantastic condition for a book that's 54 years old. Yeah, very difficult to find. But again, with all these annuals, it's all about condition. And this particular annual is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, because we managed to find a few. And you can get to this by simply clicking the link below. It'll take you straight to the website, or you'll be able to find this and many other vintage annuals and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that you won't want to miss this, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or maybe just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long-lost childhood memories. But stay tuned, keep watching, because because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed this very short video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.